these things escalate. Once you're on this slope, you accelerate. They egg each other on, it gets more and more extreme. But this finished up at a very extreme level. I mean, it was almost as if they were preparing for a siege.
In Queensland, Stoccos victim turned amateur detective Doug Redding was gradually uncovering a trail stretching from his state through New South Wales to Victoria. He even started turning out his own wanted posters. You went and you tried to track their movements. You also made up some posters or signs of them. Can I see them? So that's Mark.
Yes.
And that's Gino.
Yes.
Where'd you put these?
I put them around the countryside, different areas that I suspected that they were in, different places that I heard of, you know, where there was rural crime and that sort of thing, different areas.
What was going through your mind when you made these? They're pretty extreme.
I just thought, well, I need something to provoke them to.
So this was aimed at them?
Yeah.
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 You wanted them to see this?
Yeah, yeah.
And the bullet in the head?
Yeah, there must have been a blob of ink or something when they were making it.
Blob of ink?
That's just amazing. I don't know why you weren't out here 12 months ago.
Doug couldn't understand why authorities hadn't moved on the Stoccos, but he had his suspicions.
They don't have any documentation, you know, they don't have bank accounts, and certainly not in their name. They just work for cash. They have no... I don't think the ATO would have them registered with them. I don't think they wouldn't have a Medicare card. You know, there is nothing. From what I see, it would appear that unless you're on a computer or running a mobile phone or using a credit card, there's not a great lot of chance of getting caught these days.
But that's kind of what you were doing, isn't it? The old-fashioned boots on the ground police work.
Well, you've got to. I mean, no one's going to do it for you, so you've got to do it yourself.
After the Stoccos had paid a return visit to Doug's property and stolen his guns, they headed south, looking for more unsuspecting victims.
Is that the place then?
No, let's go back to the other place.
It's only when you're driving out here that you understand how these guys were able to be on the run for so long. It's remote, there's hardly a car in sight, hundreds of trusting people, and 1,000 places to hide.
Ready to go feed some cows? Put that back in.
Ian and Shelley Durkin and their 3 kids live on a 1,300-hectare cattle property in Coolatai in northern New South Wales.
Good boy. All right, we'll go get some more.
It was March 2014. They replied to an ad that we had in the paper for a caretaker, and they came to the farm and we met them.
How you doing, mate?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, good.
Was down from Queensland?
Yeah, mate.
Well, yeah, easy out there. Gino?
My nephew, Mark.
Okay, Mark. Get in. How are you?
They were in a pretty, nice, clean-looking vehicle, and they got out and they were well presented.
How can I help you?
We want some work.
And what can you do?
You do anything?
You knew they were father and son?
No. Gino introduced Mark to me as his nephew.
Why would he do that?
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know.
Like so many on the Stoccos hit list, the Durkins needed a hand on their farm, and they offered board in return.
Well done.
We don't want any money. You just give us some place to stay.
Think we can do something?
You're right with that.
It's easy. All right, come up the house.
The Stoccos moved in, did odd jobs, but soon they were treating the place like their own.
Gino was definitely, obsessed, I would have to say, with water and, the lawn around the shed and around the house where they were. And it looked immaculate all the time. But all of a sudden he decided that, he didn't want the cattle there and sort of kept hunting them away. And I sort of said, well, it's a cattle farm, mate, we've got cattle. I came down the road one day into work and he put an electric fence across the laneway.
This has got to come down. You can't just go sticking a fence in here, mate.
This fence is to keep your cattle off my lawn.
I don't care about your lawn, Gino.
I just said, look, you can pull that fence down. It's just, really pain in the neck. And he said, I'm not pulling it down. And I just said, look, it's not practical. And it's coming down. And, this is my show. And if you don't like it, there's a simple solution. You'd sort of hit the road if you like.
Mate, I live here. I have my rights. I know my rights.
So it goes? Well, the gate's over there.
The Stoccos did hit the road, but then days later they returned to hit the Durkin farm. Systematically, bizarrely. They drilled holes in nearly 100 tyres. They knew the huge cost of replacing them. And they cut all the fences, destroying them in precise and deliberate measure.
And I got a call and Shelley's in tears and, pretty much saying, look, she'd gone up the road to check the cattle and fences are down and cattle are everywhere, and she'd gone down to look at the shed and tyres are all flat, and then I think I said, have a look around and ring me back.
I don't know why I thought, but I thought I'll just go over and I'll check the house and check the gun safe. Anyway, I arrived to find all the bolts and that the lock padlocks and stuff had been cut and they were laying on the ground and our guns were gone. At that stage, my heart's just gone.
1, 2, 3.
And I rang in and I said, your guns are missing.
Come to Papa, baby. She's a beauty.
I mean, with all the damage that was done, that was emotional enough as it was. But when you find that your guns are missing, and to know that someone's got, 3 guns out there, it wasn't a nice feeling, that's for sure.
Oh, wow. Beauty. We hit the jackpot.
Are they going to come back? I mean, I've got 3 small children. I've been absolutely petrified that, come back and, use guns.
And beauties, aren't they?
Yeah.
At Winchester. I'd say that'd be the pick of the rifles, that one right there.
Gun theft was becoming a recurring theme. But what were they planning to do with their collection of stolen weapons?
Here we go, ruined again.
This is where they worked.
Yeah, this is the main workshop for the farm, Steve, and this is where they spend a lot of their time. Over here on the bench is a note they'd left for us a couple of days when they'd packed their stuff up and left.
Their parting message.
Yeah. Look, these are blokes that we looked after pretty well, I thought, and they've left me a note.
Ian, you're a fool. You had 2 good men for the price of 1. But because you're arrogant, you lose. There are plenty more farms like yours.
Nice. I took the attitude right from the start that I just wasn't going to take this, that I just wasn't, I was going to find these blokes one way or the other. And meaning by that, I mean, I talked to police and I just said to them, look, anything I can help you do to find these guys, we will do, and we pushed pretty hard, and just through that we found a lot of victims. Most of them were just devastated. These are people that have had them in their home, they've fed them, clothed them, treated them as if they were their own family, and for whatever reason, when they've left, they've just wreaked havoc. And some of the victims are, I don't know how they'll recover.
Like Doug Redding, Ian was determined to stop the Stoccos. Soon they were talking, sharing intelligence.
Doug rang them one night and he just said to me, look, he told me who he was and where he was from, and, he'd had a bit of a bad experience, and he just said, I'm just ringing to see whether we're dealing with the same pair of scumbags. You can tell he's just a hard-working Aussie bloke. It sort of just really resonated with me that he started to tell me some things, and then I started asking him some questions, and I'm thinking, geez, these blokes aren't just, a couple of fellas that, getting back at me. They're, from what we started to find out, they do this for a living.
Why they come back is that this is rankling. They haven't forgotten whatever this humiliation, whatever the supposed insult, whatever they felt was done to them, which enraged them back then, is still alive. They're still thinking about it. They're going over it. I mean, it's about resentment. It's about feeling persecuted. It's about taking revenge.
You said you're not scared of them.
Not in the slightest. Not in the bloody slightest.
There's a good chance they'll be watching this.
Oh, good on them. Come back, fellas. Come back and have another go.
You want them to come back, don't you?
I'll live for it.